can't just...
All
right.
Hello, everybody in Facebook land. We are the Podguyz podcast, bringing it to you as we do every Monday night, 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. We are on freaking time today.
What?
Work. I love it. Punch it in your notebooks, folks. I'm Tony Kaz.
Kevin Neary here.
Of course, we have the ever-loving Podguyz.
He's got the big sign out right there saying hi because Sparky is too good for words right now. He's refused to use them, but he will be talking today about something. We also have our wonderful special guest right now, Collin Sutrick. Is that how you say your last name, Sutrick? Sutrick.
Yep, Sutrick. Yep.
Sutrick.
I knew I had it right. I fucking knew it.
Second guess yourself, Kevin.
I do that sometimes. And anyways, Collin is the co-founder. I'm going to call him the founder, but he's calling himself the co-founder of College Football Dogs that can be found on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of the things. Collin is here with all of us today to talk about and recap the NFL draft that just happened on Thursday, round 1. We're done with the whole draft. Now, we all know every single one of these kids in the draft have a 100% higher risk for brain damage right now. Is that true, Collin?
I think DUI is a higher risk at this point.
DUI, if you are married or a girlfriend of one of these, you're going to get beat up. It's going to happen. You know?
Sure.
That's just so. Tony, did you watch the draft as well?
I did catch a little bit of the draft, not everything, but I did catch enough to be noteworthy in this conversation, sir.
Should we just get right into it then?
Let's start out at the number one pick. This year's 2024 NFL draft. Of course, me. Oh, it wasn't me.
No.
Oh.
Was not you.
Sure about that?
I'm looking at it right now.
Oh. All right. Caleb Williams, of course, went number 1. Caleb Williams. Was that who it was? Caleb Williams?
It was Caleb. It was the worst kept secret of all time. Caleb Williams. Yeah, you go number 1 on Caleb Williams. You have a talent like that from USC. There's pros and cons to Caleb Williams, and very few cons. People are saying he reminds them of Pat Mahomes. He reminds me of particularly Russell Wilson, like a better version of 100%. Russell Wilson. He runs around in the pocket. Now, Pat Mahomes used to run around the pocket, but just to fuck around. And you knew it was just to mess around. And then he could whip it right out, no problem. Caleb Williams, in my opinion, taller version of Russell Wilson, which makes him already better than Russell Wilson. His stature, his body, his attitude. He's got this weird way about him. He's painting his fingernails. People are on target with that. But if you're the Bears, you have just been given a gift of a lifetime from the Panthers, who just can't stop sucking. We'll get into that a little bit later. Draft grade A+ for the number 1 pick right there. You can't get any better than Caleb Williams. Even if the Bears picked Jaden Daniels at this pick right here, Tony, I wouldn't have been mad at them either.
Wouldn't have been.
I'm like, whatever, not a big deal because Jaden Daniels won the Heisman Trophy. But you pick Caleb Williams. They hit the easy button, no problem. Collin, what's your take on it?
Caleb Williams to me was my QB4 on the board. I think he's a good quarterback, but he's not my favorite out there. He's very good in the out of structure or the plays that fall apart. But in structure, which is, again, when you look at the league, they typically run offenses in structure, right? And so when you put a guy who's good out of structure into structure, he starts to not perform as well. He'll perform well this year, probably, while the team around him isn't great and he has to play a lot out of structure. But then once they start to build that roster around him, he's going to have to start to play a little bit more in structure, and that's when things are going to start to kind of, break down because he won't have that development that he needs.
Yeah, I think that he had to. I think that he had to.
Kevin. Hold on, Kevin. 1 second. When you're saying about that, a quarterback, playing in structure, playing out of structure, doesn't that remind you of a quarterback that Chicago just had not that long ago?
Yeah, Justin Fields, perfect example there. Perfect example. Look at what he did those first 2 years where the team around him wasn't great. He was great out of structure. Again, he looked okay. By year 3, year 3, 4,
Didn't they go through 6 quarterbacks in like 3 years though?
Well, Justin Fields for the first 2 years had to sit behind Andy Dalton for a hot minute, and his best option was a washed-up Robinson, just hanging out there, not being able to beat the first wave of coverage out there. I think when it comes to USC's offensive line, trash, big time, and I mean, such a dumpster fire of an offensive line that if Pac-12 guys are getting through, how are Pac-12 guys getting through on you?
Yeah.
It just it felt like the plays that he did throw structured on, he felt comfortable to do. It's a Lane Kiffin type offense, right? Lane Kiffin is the head coach of USC. So you have an offensive minded coach, offensive genius of a coach already at your tutelage. You're going with him from Oklahoma now to USC because you're in step with your head coach 100%. So I think he felt comfortable enough to do whatever he wanted to do in that offense. And in future reference with the Chicago Bears, they have a nice offensive line. Justin Fields did not need to improv as much as he thought that he had to. I think that Justin Fields' readability of defenses was a lot less matured than Caleb Williams. So I don't have Caleb Williams as my quarterback for. I had him tied for QB1. You saw what I did in the draft. We have our own private draft, Tony. And Collin, you were in it, of course. He's the game manager. Without Collin, we wouldn't have everybody's picks. And as many times as I have annoyed you with trades, like, I'm moving up. By the way, picks available. We're waiting a couple hours. We try to keep it as realistic as possible. So I moved back from 2 to 3 and still got Jaden Daniels, dude that wanted to play mess around time, like a lot of trades. But without Collin, this whole thing wouldn't be happening right now. But I had Caleb Williams as QB1 and Jaden Daniels kind of tied there. They're very interchangeable in a lot of ways. I just think that Jaden Daniels throws a more relaxed deep ball and when standing in the pocket, but not on the move. And that's maybe one little tweak.
Yeah, I think that, again, when you talk about Jaden Daniels, he's a little bit better in structure. And I felt like he's a lot less of a risk taker, whereas Caleb Williams, again, when he was at USC, he's willing to take a bigger risk to get the biggest play instead of probably the best play. And again, when you move up to the league, everybody gets bigger, faster, stronger, and those gaps that he was willing to risk throwing into are going to close a lot quicker, and they're going to be a lot smaller in the beginning anyway. So
moving on to Jaden,
I personally,
So moving on to Jaden Daniels, he was the second pick overall. Washington Commanders picking Jaden Daniels, which I thought, thank God they didn't pick Drake May. This is a good move.
I hate Drake May, by the way.
Oh my God!
I've told you my major.
We'll get into it
flaw.
because he's up next to. We'll get into it, no problem. The Jaden Daniels pick was a good pick, above average. He's ready to start. You got Terry McLaurin ready to be actually. Now, they had Sam Howells last year, and everyone's like, "Oh well, why wouldn't they just go Drake May and go right back to North Carolina?" And you'll see the same type of quarterback. They probably already have an inside guy there. Dude, you got new management right now in Washington. They're not going back to the same North Carolina well that they got Sam Howells from. I liked Sam Howells enough to the point where I had him on my fantasy football team. He's going to be very talented out west where you're at right now for the Seattle Seahawks. He's a future superstar quarterback all around. I think that I overlooked Sam Howells in the draft when he was being drafted. I was like, what's Washington doing? They got Carson Wentz. I don't understand this idea. But no, great pick from the Commanders. You don't move from that spot. They didn't play. They didn't mess around that
They didn't
much.
play mess around time at all.
No,
Yeah, they didn't. No mess around.
And it was, I think it was always destined to be Caleb and Jaden as far as number 1, number 2, but nobody, not to say that nobody knew who was going first, but you know what? I threw this wife beater on today because I knew it was going to be more of a, like a trashy event. And the only reason why I say that is because the Patriots, who are number 3 on the list, I feel like it's very trashy for them to take Drake May. Are you in agreement, Colin?
No, I am not in agreement.
Really?
I
Okay.
actually, again, I'm a
You
Patriots
like this
fan.
pick?
I love this pick. Drake May was actually my quarterback 1 of this
What is
class,
wrong with you?
and he is my number 1 overall prospect in this class. I absolutely
As a
love
fellow Patriots fan, this could not have gone any worse for the Patriots,
Really,
to be honest.
really.
Yeah. And
I'm interested
many,
in hearing why.
there are probably 3 or 4 quarterbacks that got taken lower in a draft that could have popped over Drake May in any point in time, just because he plays soft defenses.
We'll
And
get
every
into
one
that,
of his
Tony.
highlight
Don't
reels
worry.
that I've ever seen
We'll get
were
into that.
sloppy little flea flickers into the end zone. So therefore, dude, he's gonna get eaten alive.
He's
Eaten
not
alive.
going to. What my biggest takeaway from Drake May was that the highlight reels that I've watched of him, even the long games I've watched of
Oh
him,
yeah.
the plays that are like pop worthy are against low grade defensive schools. Or
The
yeah,
worst
you
of the worst.
Gotcha.
where you better be good against these schools, sort of thing. Now, what I will compliment Drake May is if I wanted to right now, I could not name you his coach at all. Okay, couldn't do it. Gun to my head, my fucking brains would be on the ground right now. Couldn't name you his coach. I could name you one wide receiver that he was a Walker that he was thrown to a little bit, and
Walker.
Des Walker. And the one thing I noticed was that Walker would have to slow down his running because the ball was a little underthrown. It was thrown far, but a little underthrown. Drake May did struggle against the Virginia Cavaliers, and Virginia is not really known for their defense, let alone their offense. I think what Collin might be seeing, and you can totally correct me if I'm wrong, is the potential upside. There is a big accordion of downside to upside. And when you're drafted at 3, that's what you normally go for is downside and upside, who I would rather the Patriots take. If you need a quarterback tomorrow on the field tomorrow to throw to anybody, get Michael Penix Jr. Okay, just throw him in
Would
there.
have been a much better choice.
But they don't really need a quarterback tomorrow because they're going Jacoby Brissett, so they're going to go Mayo and May. Coach Mayo and May. But Colin, why do you like Drake May so much to the point where you have him ranked number 1, a 21-year-old quarterback, number 1 throughout the whole entire field right here?
Yeah, so again, you got to bring in his age, 21, right? He's got a lot of room for growth. He's got a lot of room to learn. And I think a big thing is people are looking at this last year and go, well, he didn't perform this last year. But you got to take his whole collegiate career put together, right? Look at last year. Last year is where he really got put on,
buddy.
He got put onto he came onto the scene last year, right?
He did.
And he was fantastic. He had an offensive coordinator change this year. He had a new offensive coordinator, and talking to scouts that have looked at him, this offensive coordinator did not allow him to audible in different situations. So if the offensive coordinator made a play call, he didn't have the ability to change it depending on what he saw on the field. So there were situations he got put into that if it was, I'll say, a good coach would have allowed him to audible out of that situation and make it more favorable for himself and the team. And so I think that was a big part of it. I think that allowing, going to the Patriots, allowing him to sit behind Jacoby Brissett to start the year. Again, he's not going to be able to. He's not in a situation where he's going to be forced to start right away. Jacoby Brissett can start a few games, maybe even half the season if need be, and give
Before he gets
Drake
hurt.
May that time to develop. Yeah,
What
before
you're
he gets
saying,
hurt, yes.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is that the coaching staff felt fine with putting this kid behind the 8 ball enough to the point where they could still kind of win games with the idea. They felt good. They felt that he was talented enough to the point where they're like, who cares if he can't audible out of plays? We don't want him to audible out of. The Patriots did pick up some weapons, by the way. Jalen Polk from Washington, wide receiver out of Washington right there. Javon Baker, what a waste of a pick right there. UCF, not he's not my top ranked wide receiver. He's more at the bottom of the list sort of thing, but we'll get into that. But you know what, Colin? You know what struck me as kind of weird? The Patriots had such little confidence in their own third overall pick that they had to pick Joe Milton the third in the 6th round.
Yeah.
They said, Drake May, pick 3. And then they had a couple days to think about it. They're like, maybe also Joe Milton. Your thoughts on why they need Drake May insurance, and was that necessary for the draft? Because I think Joe Milton III carried on from Hendon Hooker's little legacy down there. By the way, Hendon Hooker was like 27 years old. He was like a grown man whipping it around. You know, like, it's like, wow, this guy's amazing. How old is he?
He was doing the Ric Flair helicopter everywhere.
Yeah, he's basically a 30-year-old man punching down on 6-year-olds. Like, what are you doing, man? No, this isn't impressive anymore. We thought you were their age. But what do you think about Joe Milton III being a form of Drake May insurance, just in case Drake May gets a case of the Mac Jones?
Yeah, a lot of people question whether that was Drake May insurance. I don't think Joe Milton is going to make it as a quarterback in the league. I honestly think that this pick was more to try to convert him to tight end. I really do. I heard a lot of scouts mentioning that he had the frame to be a tight end in the league. It's just a matter of is he willing to make that transition? And I think the Patriots took a shot at, maybe we bring him on, and worst case scenario, he can be a backup for us.
And the good thing about the Patriots offense
guy
as well, the Patriots offense always more than likely runs a double tight end set.
Yep, exactly.
They do. Yeah,
exactly.
they got Hunter Henry. They're basically trying to. They've been writing down on how to steal Bill Belichick's formula so they can fire him since Tom Brady left.
Yeah,
in my opinion, that's what they've been trying to play Spygate on him, sort of thing. But we're gonna move on to the next pick of the draft, because we can stay on Drake May as long as possible if you guys want to keep hitting at the kid. But we should probably Tony's got something to say. I love it.
I was just gonna say NBC, our CBS Sports actually put that pick at a B, a solid B pick out of their letter grading, and it should have been a B- or a C. In my eyes, but
whatever.
You have the next pick, who was Marvin Harrison Jr.
You know how I do it, Tony. It's a 1, worst pick of your life. A 10, they've changed your lives forever, and you will win Super Bowls with this guy. A 5 is what I give this pick. It's because we got him because he was there and he fell to us, and this is who we're supposed
100%.
to pick.
Yeah.
So it just felt like they didn't. If Jaden Daniels was still on the board, they'd pick Jaden Daniels because, well, that's who we're supposed to pick.
I think so too.
Yeah. So number 4, though, you're right. Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 4, right there. Marvin Harrison,
phenomenally built wide receiver extraordinaire from the college, making and breaking records this year. Just doing it.
Marvin Harrison
Jr.
Hold on 1 second. We talking about this guy who didn't sign his NFLPA licensing agreement?
You're right.
Yep, exactly.
Once again,
I said making and breaking.
He's got a
Marvin
lot
Harrison
going on.
Jr., you know what? He's a very solid wide receiver. I think it's in the family name itself. Building a legacy, but falling to the Cardinals.
Fans are going to be mad, though, not going to be able to buy his jersey.
They'll be able to buy it eventually, Sparky. Marvin Harrison Jr. is, I would say, best wide receiver in the draft. Malik Neighbors is a close second, as a close first, because Malik Neighbors still has room to grow as well. Marvin Harrison Jr. also has room to grow. If you go with either one of these guys, you're not going to be disappointed unless you have ACL tear after ACL tear. Then you're going to be like, fuck, what did we do? What did we do? Kyler Murray now has a new #1 target in Arizona. If Kyler Murray doesn't gel with this kid correctly, my opinion, I think they should have picked Malik Neighbors. Would be a better gel point with Kyler Murray.
Or if Kyle Murray can make it healthy through a season.
That's a big problem too. He's like what, 5'8", 5'9". I'm not even going to say 5'10" because I know that's bullshit.
Yeah, he's like 5'2.5" with stilt legs.
So he's a shorter quarterback. We're not gonna,
he's got lifts.
We don't measure this man at night, sort of thing. So he's got lips. He's got lips and spikes. He's got the whole thing going. So he needs to stay healthy during the whole entire season. They have backup quarterback Clayton Tune out of Houston to just fill in the area, I guess. Josh Dobbs was brought in there for fuck around time, of course, last year.
He's going to come in as punt snapper.
Josh Dobbs this is what I don't understand. Josh Dobbs had some very good games last year, and then Arizona's like, Minnesota, do you want him? And Minnesota's like, yeah, let's take him. The Marvin Harrison Jr. draft grade A++++. Probably the Bears were also talked about getting Marvin Harrison Jr. That was put into their scenario. That was put into everybody's scenario because there's no way you can possibly go wrong with it. Collin, is this a can't miss?
Oh, absolutely. I think he's going to be a phenomenal wide receiver. Again, if he can gel with Kyler Murray, I hope that a Call of Duty is not released this year. I hope for Marvin Harrison Jr.'s sake, no Call of Duty. Get Kyler Murray off the couch into the practice room, into the film room.
Well, this is what could happen. They should buy both of them the new Madden, just so that way when they play it, they're like, "This is terrible. Let's stop playing." Right? We don't want to play. Maybe it'll get better if we just stick at it. Yeah.
Maybe they'll buy interpreters to make bets on their Madden games. That'd be great.
So we're not going to spend too much time on Marvin Harrison Jr. because
next on the list at number 5.
You are the Chargers at number 5, and the Chargers selected Joe Alt out of Notre Dame.
Yep.
Well, finally, somebody's going to be there to save poor Justin Herbert's life.
Thank God.
He
may be the only one.
It is a fundamental pick, and it's not exciting. It's not sexy. You need a type of Joe Alt player to make sure that your quarterback is still standing upright and able to get the ball to. Now, people were very critical saying, including myself, I'm like, you have Malik Neighbors there. Get an offensive tackle in the second round. Grab up Malik Neighbors. But I was also proven that the Chargers did have a strategy to go into the idea of wide receivers, as they picked up in the 7th round Brendan Rice out of USC, Cornelius Johnson, who Harbaugh is very familiar with from Michigan. And Ladd McConkey in the 2nd round. So they picked up 3.
Ladd McConkey.
Yeah. McConkey. So they picked up 3 very solid wide receivers in the draft anyway. So everybody like myself in the first round, like, dude, you get Malik Neighbors. What's wrong with you?
Well, Kevin, the way you look at it in the draft is, in the first round, you want to look to fill the position that you need to fill, and you want to go for what you need. You can still pick up great players in the 2nd and 3rd round, and you can still pick up
all the way up to the 4th and 5th
rounds 4 to 6 still.
You can get a sleeper pick at any round individually.
Well, but I'm just saying though, you get that bona fide stud for that position that you need.
There were so many studs that picked up in the 5th round. It's almost like they were ignored in the 3rd and the 4th. The 3rd round had potential 1st round picks in them. The fourth round had like nobody, and then the fifth and sixth round had these studs coming in. Like, what are you guys doing? Joe Alt, great pick. I'm giving it an A minus, only because the A is there for, yeah, awesome pick, very good, but the minus is there of, but could have there been better? Could have you done something a little bit nicer there? Could have you traded back? Could you have traded back and still gotten Joe Alt for somebody that
No.
was greedy for Malik Neighbors?
No. Joe Walt was going to be a top 10 pick because if the Chargers traded too far back,
Yep.
well, we'll get to the team that I say who should have taken Joe Walt.
For the nasty number six pick, of course, the New York Giants on the clock picked Malik Neighbors.
Finally, Daniel
A
Jones
plus
gets another
pick.
one.
Thank God they didn't mess this one up because it's been all over the news. As far
It's
as
hard to not miss this one. I mean, the Giants need a little bit of everything.
need something.
No matter who they pick, they weren't going to miss because they need a little bit of everything.
But thank God that they have enough confidence in their quarterback right now.
Which one? Tommy DeVito?
No. No, unfortunately.
No, the Daniel Jones. The Daniel Jones era is
Danny
still
Dimes.
going, still running strong.
Danny Dimes is still doing something.
And this is his last.
I don't know what the hell he's doing, but he's doing something.
This is definitely his last hurrah when it comes to it. If he can throw for a significant amount of yards and touchdowns to Malik Neighbors specifically, then they could say, okay, this is what he was missing the whole time. Darius Slayton has not been able to do much of anything. Waller was hurt half of the season, and then when he wasn't hurt, he was maybe good for a game and a half, 2 games total. I mean, if you're going ball for ball with it. Barkley was pissed off to even be there because Danny Dimes doesn't exist in any good facet of an idea without
in anybody's mind at all.
I mean, yeah, and let's give this guy money. It's almost like watching the laziest worker that just so happens to have a position of generalized importance at every other restaurant.
Yeah,
he's
the bagger at the shopping center, but pretends he's the manager.
He's the manager that used to be the bagger, and they're like,
oh, okay.
And you're like, how
better?
You have the smarts of the guy getting the carts out there. How did you get up here? I don't even know.
With the disappearance of Saquon Barkley and half of their offensive line,
Jones is going to die this year.
Saquon Barkley got replaced with Tyron Tracy in the fourth round. In the fifth round out of Purdue.
Fifth round, yep.
10, 209 pounds, position ranked 14th according to ESPN. Tyler Nubin, I think we lost Collin there for a hot second. Collin, whenever you're ready to pop back in here, pop back in if your internet comes back. Or say something if you can hear us still. But Tyler Nubin out of Minnesota, they also picked up. Andre Phillips, cornerback out of Kentucky. Kentucky, I don't even know why they picked Phillips out of Kentucky in the third round, 6th pick. This was not a good pick.
Plenty of meat on the bone still, as far as players were concerned, and that was a pick out of nowhere.
It made sense. We can't spend too much time. Malik Neighbors, great pick, 6 foot tall, 199 pounds, the second best wide receiver in the draft. You pick him because if you don't, you're the fucking Giants of yesteryear.
Now, who broke the combine record for speed? Was it him?
Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy.
Okay.
Combine
Yep.
Speed record right there. And we will run into him as the draft moves along. We're getting to pick number 7 here. Collin, you remember who pick number 7 was?
Tennessee Titans.
Number 7 was the Titans. Mm-hmm. I know that they had J.C. Latham, if I remember.
J.C. Latham, yep. Yeah, J.C. Latham was that pick right there. He moved right up the draft board. I did not have him going until like the late 20s on all my mocks. It's J.C. Latham right there, 6'6", 342 pounds. This guy is good on the run, good on the block.
Big boy.
He is the second best offensive tackle, if not the best. If you love Joe Alt, you're gonna love J.C. Latham.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So they'll be able to keep up the Will Levis experiment. I call it the Will Levis experiment because we're not really sure if he is just Tim Tebow yet. We're not 100%. We're not like 100% sure. The JC Latham what would your grade be for a JC Latham? That's a solid A, right?
He's a B plus.
Yeah, I think it's
A to a B plus.
yeah, A minus, B plus. I think again, you like. I think any offensive lineman would have been okay there, but I think again, when you're talking about who the Callahan family, again, they're known for developing offensive linemen. I think any offensive lineman would have been great. I think the kind of the what interested them in Latham over some of the other guys was just his versatility. I think he can play tackle, but also kick inside and play a little bit of guard. So I think that versatility is what really drew them towards Latham rather than an Olu Fashanu or Taliza Fuanga or one of these other tackles.
Even Tyler Guyton, which who went super late in the draft, but
he's but they call him an experiment though. He still needs work.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Sparky. Yeah.
But there was other of course offensive tackles that got taken way before he did.
What I wanted the Titans to do, and a lot of my mocks were Brock Bowers. What's wrong with that idea? Give Will Levis a little safety blanket. Yeah. Get an offensive tackle on the back. Get Paul out of Houston if you wanted to in the back end or whatever. If you have coaches, what I'm specifically saying is if you have coaches, to your point, Collin, you have coaches that specifically develop offensive linemen, then you can go dirt cheap on them and raise them up to be, you can go radishes to gold on that idea and really just pop in a Brock Bowers as a safety blanket to Will Levis. So that way he's got somebody to dump the ball off to these easy tight end routes. Brock Bowers can block here and there. He's not going to be much of a significant blocker in the NFL. The NFL tight ends that are college tight ends that are touted highly in the NFL, even Dalton Kincaid, basically turn into a short slot receiver to outrun a little bit the linebacker position. But that was my thought. Like, if you got these guys, great, they can develop an offensive line. Good. We don't have to fucking buy any of that. Great. Just let's get them dirt cheap and have them raise them up. No problem. But the Sparky, how do you like JC Latham there?
I had him figured about he was going to go top 10 also. I had him around top 10. And he's, somebody to help, protect the quarterback once again, because what was Levis's problem last year? He was on his back a lot, and he missed the.
Yeah, Levis. At least Levis got in there. He balled it out for when he did get in there. He tried his best without a game plan at all. Mike Vrabel's like, well, we're not gonna fucking throw the ball, so just keep handing it off. And he's like, dude, you just can't do that all game, sort of thing. But we're gonna be spending a lot of time on this next pick coming up. I have a feeling about it because on the clock, Tony, the Atlanta. Why? Why?
There you go.
He has the big Y right up there, and my take might not be popular on it, but we're going to go around the board. Tony on it first. Tony, the Atlanta Falcons are on the clock. Who do the Atlanta Falcons take?
The Atlanta Falcons take Michael Penix Jr.
Wow. Fucking internet goes crazy.
I gotta thank Atlanta for doing that pick because they put the whole draft on their ear. We'll explain that as the next few picks come up.
Wait, we're gonna go with the crazy camp. Just why do
Collin,
that?
Your take on the Michael Penix Jr.
That is a solid C.
Yeah, I like Michael Penix. I think that's
he's all right.
Yeah, I like him. I think that there is a little bit of an injury risk there, definitely. But when you're talking Atlanta's scheme, I think Atlanta scheme fits him. The issue I had with the pick is you just guaranteed $100 million.
Wait, what's he into? Bank robberies and hoes or what?
Well, no,
That's the
no,
only
it was
thing
the
you're
money
gonna
that
find
they-
in Atlanta.
No, it was the money that they gave to Kirk Cousins, Tony.
Oh,
They
yeah.
gave Kirk Cousins over $100 million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So don't
$100
they have
million
four quarterbacks now?
guaranteed.
Don't they have 4 quarterbacks on the roster?
They have Riddler,
Yep.
Kirk Cousins, and
Yep.
now Michael Penix Jr.
I swear they had 4.
Yeah.
So in other words, they got the Riddler, the Joker, and the Penguin, huh? Is that what you said?
Sure.
Colin,
They're trying
what
to
is-
cover all of the Batman villains.
Yes, they're trying to cover up the Batman characters.
I loved this pick. You have a who knows how Kirk Cousins is going to come back question mark on your table right now. I think, and I'm just speculating a little bit.
He's going to be
Doc.
like Joe Flacco this year.
1 year, Kirk Cousins plays. Next year, he doesn't.
He doesn't. Yeah.
But they still
Yeah,
they got to still spend all that money though.
You can dump that contract on somebody else if you wanted to. If
No,
you trade him,
Who cares? He's got cap room.
The cap hit.
It's the
Yep.
guaranteed money. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it was just $100 million contract, that's
well,
fine.
then you're paying Michael Penix Jr. early. I mean, sure, it's still going to Kirk Cousins' bank account, but it's still, you'd weigh that against on Michael Penix
It's
Jr.
a good insurance policy.
Here's a fun scenario for you, right? Say Alex Smith is making Kirk Cousins money on the Chiefs. Do we get angry that they draft Pat Mahomes? Okay.
At the time, yeah, I probably would have the same feelings. Yeah,
You'd probably have the same feeling, and we'd be what? We'd be wrong just because the money is in one area specifically, and the talent is so extreme in the other area. You draft the talent and forget about the money. Money is always going to be there. The contract's always going to be there. I am not in any way calling Michael Penix Jr. Pat Mahomes. I'm just naming a scenario.
No, God, no.
I'm just naming a scenario that, hey, you guys already have Alex Smith. Why the fuck are you picking Pat Mahomes? You just guaranteed Alex Smith $100 million. Why would you get Pat Mahomes? You see how that feels like that feels.
I got it.
When you got it. So
here's the problem though, Kevin. Here it is. Atlanta. What was the biggest thing in the world that Atlanta needed?
Atlanta needed a couple things, in my opinion. I think
anybody on defense.
I think they needed Quayon Mitchell. Would have been a great pick there.
Atlanta's defense was their biggest thing that they kept on saying was edge rusher.
Edge rusher Dallas Turner was a big name
for
out there.
Defensive tackle, and all the best ones were on the board right there. They were right there because it went all offense the first 7 picks
14
so far. But once again, but I'm just doing the scenario. The first 7 picks before them was all offense. So all these defensive players were there for them. Once again, though, we're going to get into that later on in the story, though, about the offense.
The story develops.
Yes, the story is going to develop. You'll see. But they needed the defensive tackle or an edge rusher and nothing.
So let's just say that this is the big FU to Kirk Cousins.
They called him up 5 minutes before time and they said, "Hey, pal."
Atlanta's going to score points. Atlanta scored points last year. Only problem is
they did.
Yeah, if you score 28 but you give up 30, you still lose.
Oh, I forgot, Tony. The most forgettable backup quarterback in the NFL, Taylor Heineke. That's who we're thinking of.
There we go.
They still got Taylor Heineke on.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's 4 quarterbacks. I didn't remember who it was.
Did they trade one of those guys?
No, they have them all until
Arizona.
Until the start.
Is he? Oh, he's in Arizona now.
I thought they traded either Heineke or Ritter to Arizona.
Maybe Ritter. I mean, possibly.
I think Heineke went to Arizona.
It was Ritter.
So that could have been like a flag of hint. We're getting rid of a quarterback sort of thing. I've never seen Atlanta pick defensively since Deion Sanders in the first round.
No, still Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah. They just
still
in the Atlanta.
Temporarily. Yep.
So I just love the pick.
Arizona right now. Ritter's the backup to Kyler Murray.
I hear Heineke's going to go back to the XFL.
I love the pick because I have Michael Penix Jr.
The UFL?
UFL, yeah.
Third best quarterback. in the
UFC,
draft,
XFL, WWE, whatever they want to call it.
He's got a hell of a ceiling there too. Can throw. Did you see the ball that he throws, man? Everywhere Michael Penix Jr. goes, he makes a winning impact wherever he goes. The injury risk statistically is always there with every NFL player. Inside the pocket, outside the pocket. Joe Burrow never got hurt in college. Always gets hurt in the goddamn NFL. So if we're going counter opposite time, Lamar Jackson gets hurt every now and then. It's called injury prone, but was hurt less than Joe Burrow. Never called injury prone, just called, oh my God, an accident happened to Joe Burrow. Oh my God, could you believe what happened to Joe Burrow? What a victim. And then with Lamar Jackson, they're like, that motherfucker, he got hurt. It's like, was he outside the pocket? No, but he got hurt. And
Okay, pick 9, Kevin.
okay, we are on pick number 9. You're right, Sparky. Pick number 9. The Bears are back on the clock. Colin, the Bears are back on the
The
clock.
Bears.
Who did the Bears pick?
They got Rome Odunze, wide
Rome
receiver out of
Odunze.
Washington.
Odunze.
Hey, look at that. Look at that. They finally got a weapon for Justin Fields. I mean,
Sure.
They got a nice wide receiving crew right now. They have DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and now adding Ramadunze to the situation.
They look fantastic on paper, by the way.
On paper, yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was after they got rid of Justin Fields.
Now,
Remember the year when Robert Griffin III came into Washington, and like on paper they were fucking solid, like real solid.
Santana
And they
Moss,
shit their pants this year.
big time.
I think this is what's gonna happen to the Bears this coming year. They're gonna soil themselves. Soil it.
Soil
Soil it.
if Caleb Williams, this adds a lot of ease and pressure at the same time, because if he comes in and sucks, they're going to look like a bunch of morons. And then if Russell Wilson sucks too and Justin Fields gets in there and starts blowing it up, the Bears are going to look like the dumbest franchise when it comes to quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah.
Ramadunze, great on Ramadunze.
You
Yeah, it
going
was
to
a
10
good-
already?
pretty solid pick.
I think it was a solid pick. I can't blame him. Again, he's a solid wide receiver. He's going to help the team a lot. I would go probably with an A-. I would have liked to see them trade back just because they only had a 3rd and a 4th round pick after that. And with how bad that roster is, again, you want to be able to pick up as much capital as possible. So I love the pick. But again, I probably, if I were there, I would try to trade back a few spots, pick up an extra a couple extra picks.
Now they ended up getting
JJ McCarthy.
they ended up getting they got
We're
Austin
gonna get into
Booker.
that, Tony. Don't worry. We're going to get into that.
Okay.
They ended up picking up Austin Booker in the late 5th round out of Kansas. I'm not very impressive on the tape. I can compare him to some players that are coming up along the way, but we're going to move on from Ramadunze. I'm going to give them a B+ to A- land, because you could have gotten Dallas Turner, and you're going to hear me keep saying that. You could have gotten Dallas
Could have
Turner.
gotten Dallas Turner.
Pick number 10 there. Pick number 10. The Vikings move up 1 spot.
Let the panicking begin.
They hit the panic button big time. You know it, Sparky. They hit that fucking button. They gave up a lot to the New York Jets, who were surprisingly the smart person in the room. Like, wait a second.
For
what?
once in their lives.
Well, that's because rumor has it there was 3 teams on the phone with the Jets trying to get their pick.
There was supposedly the Raiders and the Broncos and the Saints were another one. Yeah. So
you know what the funny thing is that the Jets, not necessarily, they don't need a quarterback situation. So, of course, having JJ McCarthy go,
The Vikings.
he probably could have slid down to number 12, to be honest, or 13. Even from there. So, I mean,
We'll get into that, Tony. We're going to get into the panic mode.
We'll get into semantics. We'll get into semantics. But the Jets on the next pick picked up an offensive tackle.
You know why? Because they had to save Aaron Rodgers' life.
They have to save his life.
They gave him an extra 2 plays.
This is
At
why
least-
the Jets
at
are
least,
dumb.
At least
This is
one and
why
a half
the,
seconds in the pocket.
this is why the Jets are dumb. And I'm just gonna throw it out there, okay? How many quarterbacks are we talking about right now? Right off the rip, we're talking about 4 quarterbacks right now. In a universe,
Five.
cool. In a universe where
It's going to be
Aaron
6, Kevin.
Rodgers-
Just wait.
in a universe where Aaron Rodgers is not on the Jets and the Jets just fail
Oh yeah,
like every year,
like they
huh?
usually do.
like they usually do.
Yeah.
The Jets get one of these quarterbacks. They get one of them.
That would have
All
been
they
great.
gotta do is be themselves for a year. Instead, they pushed all chips forward on Aaron Rodgers, and he gave them the best 30 seconds of his life.
What I like to call this is the Atlantic City tourist. They went right up to the roulette table and they were like, "Hey, bet on black." And they spin the ball around and fucking red came right up and they slapped them so hard right in the forehead, mushroom stamp and all. And they were like, "Oh, well, we kind of messed up a little bit."
Collin, your take on the Jets pick JJ McCarthy.
No, Vikings.
Oh, no.
Vikings. I'm sorry. The Vikings
Vikings.
pick JJ McCarthy. You're right, Sparky. We're talking about the Jets so much. I thought they'd already.
Sorry. Next pick.
I misspoke.
Yeah, they traded back. Took McCarthy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vikings are like we changed
JJ
our mind.
McCarthy, your ranking of him as a quarterback, your professional analysis of JJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy, to be honest, he was my QB8 in this draft. I'm not a huge fan of JJ
Wow.
McCarthy.
Okay.
I think there is some potential. Again, when you're looking at the prospects compared to each other, they all have potential. There's always potential there. I think McCarthy just has a little bit more that needs to be worked on. I think his frame doesn't help either. He has a smaller frame, and again, when everybody's talking bigger, faster, stronger, in that taking that step up to the league, he's not going to be able to provide much with his feet. Because if he's running, if he has to run the ball outside the pocket at all, again, he's gonna have to take a hit. And with his smaller frame, you don't want a guy like that taking those hits.
Can I be the only one to openly admit that out of the top 10 picks, 5 quarterbacks were taken out of the top 10, and it is the softest quarterback class that has come out in several years.
Didn't I claim that on the podcast like 3-4 weeks ago that 6 quarterbacks was going to go in the first round? You guys looked at me like as if I was crazy.
I thought they were going under. I thought there was a lot of hype going on there. Now, Collin, now you say he is your 8th best quarterback out there. If he was the 8th best quarterback out there, how do you win a national championship? You know, Harbaugh cannot physically get inside of his body and throw the ball. The kid has to execute the plays that were given to him. Third down completion rate on third down is 85%, which is number 1 in the NCAA right there. His ability to execute a game plan while being the backup, which means if you're a backup and you have to come in for the rest of the season, you had to have already been prepared. By the way, he only threw, 2 interceptions all year? 2 interceptions all year? Now, they did run the ball a lot. They ran the ball a whole ton.
Yeah.
When running the ball the first time fails and running the ball the second time fails, you got 3rd down and 7 to go. On those 3rd and 7s, he's going 85% on. Against defenses like Penn State, Illinois, Wisconsin, Big Ten, big-time defenses.
Not like the time they ran the ball on 3rd down, Kevin.
And they also ran the ball on 3rd down sometimes too. And we're talking 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5. We're not talking 3rd and 11.
Oh,
which he also did.
I've seen Michigan run the ball on 3rd and 6 and
yep.
I've seen the highlight film of JJ McCarthy too. He was able to execute every play possible. He played against Alabama's defense and still won.
Yeah.
Like the 2 of the top-rated cornerbacks, Kool-Aid McKinstry and Harrison Arnold. Dallas Turner's coming at you. Braswell's coming at you. This kid is not an 8th ranked quarterback to play so well against a top-tier, top 3 defense in the NCAA. So I have to disagree with you there. I have him as the 4th ranked quarterback all around, and that's just my opinion. If my biggest problem is I got to move up for JJ McCarthy one spot, I don't think the Vikings should have given up that much for a one spot move up, dude. If anything, you know what? I'll wait for if JJ McCarthy gets taken ahead of me, I'll take Bo Nix and say fuck you to Sean Payton. But that's
what happened is out in Denver, Peyton was hinting to Minnesota that he was planning on trading up, and
he was.
The panic kicked in.
Panic button.
Yep.
Hit it.
Button. when Penix got taken, that's when the panic button got hit. I went here. I was like, here we go.
Kevin, quarterbacks they have on the roster now.
And everybody's gonna panic. And then
Sam Darnold.
If you skip ahead the next few picks, right? If you go to what was it, 11 now?
We are on pick 11. Yeah, right after that. Yeah,
11
we're on
was
the Jets.
They took the offensive lineman. 12
Olu Fashanu, which he's kind of raw, but he's big,
he's athletic.
Again.
Yes. You go to 12, Denver, and that was
you got Bo Nix right there.
Bo Nix.
Yep.
Which if you want to play skip around time on the Jets real quick, the Jets had a very interesting draft all around. You get your offensive lineman right there, Olel Fashanu, a nice idea. Then McKinley Corley, for some odd reason, I think they drafted him to make Aaron Rodgers' friends look better. Just throwing it out there. Braylon Allen, running back, just for the shits of it. And then the Jets picked their quarterback of the future. Very underrated winner, Jordan Travis. Like Jordan Travis. I think he's very accurate, smart with the ball, good with the game plan all around out of Florida State.
Yep.
Older, what is he, 25 years old? He's an older quarterback.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
He's about 25 years old.
He's going to break a hip.
He might break it. Well, I'm just saying, like he's older compared to younger, sort of thing. But Bo Nix. What do you think about Bo Nix, Sparky?
Bo Nix, he could make throws and he could do a lot. But the problem though, he's battling father time already. He was in college for what, 9 years or something like that. It seemed like
he's been to more keggers. He's all about football, but he's been out there. He's been doing stuff. He's a college type quarterback. I think he's going to work.
He played at what, 3 different colleges?
He played at Auburn and Oregon. And who was the third college there, Colin? Do you know offhand or no?
I don't think he played
just
at
2, Auburn and Oregon.
I think it was just 2. Yeah.
Only 2? I thought he was at 3.
No, it was just 2.
2019 to 2021 in Auburn and 22 and 23 in Oregon.
Denver had one of those drafts that were, like, Colin, I picked these guys in our draft before. Jonah Ellis out of Utah. I got him in the 5th round. They ranked him in the 3rd round to grab him up. Troy Franklin. I love Troy Franklin. He's a very thin type of wide receiver, so pack on a little weight, whatever. His route running is excellent. His ability to catch the ball is always there.
That poor guy's chest is going to collapse up there.
Oh, yeah, dude. Abrams Drain out of Missouri. Chris Abrams Drains out of Missouri, a cornerback. Austin Esteem out of Notre Dame, running back right there. They had a very, very solid draft all around. The 2 7th round picks, who cares about? It's the 7th round. They're going to be cut or special teams. It doesn't really matter. But Bo Nix, he's kind of old. Great college quarterback. All he has to do is be better than Zach Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Which isn't that hard.
Russell Wilson.
You have Zach Wilson on the brain. By the way,
Zach Wilson is a Denver Bronco there, Sparky.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't Zach Wilson still with the Jets, by the way?
No, he is on the
No,
Denver.
he got traded.
Yeah.
Where did he go to? Did he go to Denver?
The Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Did he? Oh, well, they traded one Wilson for another.
Well, no, Sparky, the Broncos were so cash-strapped that they just gave Zach Wilson Russell Wilson's jersey. Isn't it the same name?
And said, here you go.
Here you go. And he put it on there, no problem. But draft grade for the Broncos there, Colin. What do you got?
Yeah, the Broncos, I think they did pretty well. I like their first 3 picks. Again, Bo Nix, he's going to be, he's going to be a guy where I don't know I don't know if I like it if they're going to have him start from week one. He's not the guy where, again, if you have him go out in week one, he's not going to have a very successful or very long career. But if you have a guy who, again, you throw somebody out there and let him develop for a few weeks, even half a season to a full season, I mean, that's more what you're looking at for a Bo Nix. Jonah Ellis is great out of Utah, great edge rusher. He was actually, I thought he was actually a better edge rusher than Dallas Turner was in college, but I think that Dallas Turner has a better upside and potential at the next level. But in terms of just production last year, I thought Jonah Ellis was phenomenal. Troy Franklin, I'm not the hottest on Troy Franklin, but I think where they got him was phenomenal.
The Bo Nix, I'm going to give it a B to a B plus range right there. The how about Tony? How about yourself?
I'm gonna say B minus. I could have seen him going higher, to be honest. Slightly higher. Just because of his game know-how and how he acts in the pocket. I'm more interested about the next pick.
The next pick on the clock. The Raiders are on the clock. Sparky, the Raiders select.
Well, they took a tight end at 13.
So they picked Brock
They
Bowers.
did. They took Brock
13.
Bowers.
Yep.
Yeah, but there's only one problem though.
He already wants to trade.
Is he going to throw the ball to himself?
What are you? How insulting? Why do people insult Gardner Minshew like he's not a good quarterback? Like, I don't get the Gardner Minshew hate, because Gardner Minshew put up the same numbers that Trevor Lawrence did for Trevor Lawrence's rookie year. He's been able to win in
Put up the
Indianapolis.
same numbers as Danny Dimes. Stop it.
Put up more numbers than Danny Dimes. Danny Dimes threw more interceptions than anybody.
He has.
Gardner Minshew is serviceable as a quarterback. He's what you would call a bridge quarterback at this stage of his career. I think if he shaved his mustache, people would say, well, he's matured.
Here's the thing, though. Who are they bridging the quarterback to, though?
Aiden O'Connell.
Ugh.
Yeah.
He ain't pretty, but he did play very well last year. He was able to get the ball. He was able to get the ball to Devontae Adams on a regular basis as an actual rookie quarterback. Kid's 22 years old, and he's just like, hey, we don't really have a head coach right now. He's fired. We got this, he's been through adversity, and he still played at a slightly similar level that Derek Carr played at before. Hand the ball off to Josh Jacobs, throw it to Devontae Adams. See if fucking what's his name? Oh God, Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow's still out there.
All
Was that
Aaron Rodgers friends. Throw the ball at one Aaron Rodgers friends.
Yeah. I think Brock Bowers was a value pick at this one, best available.
He was a value pick. They said, you know what, we got to take the best player possible right now. And they
Collin, Tony, what do you guys think about the Brock Bowers pick?
The funny thing is that the Raiders with Gardner Minshew, they're also going 3 deep for quarterbacks as well. So they have Minshew, O'Connell, and Brown, and they had zero interest. And this is because the news was so worthy of this impeccable pick that he asked for a trade already.
Brock Bowers already asked for a trade.
Yeah. And the Raiders had zero interest in picking up a quarterback because they are that invested in Gardner Minshew. And they said that they have no interest in any other quarterbacks, quote unquote, who all had warts and are clearly well behind Minshew.
Minshew Madness. They got a taste of it, dude.
They have Minshew Madness. Yeah.
Minshew Madness. They ain't getting
that is going to be on every Raiders poster.
Everybody's gonna be growing. Everybody's gonna be growing the Fu Man Minshew.
Dude, he wins games. He puts up numbers. What else do you want from him? This is the JJ McCarthy criticism all over again, where it's just like he won a national championship. Well, he's kind of thin. What the fuck? He's 6'3". Yeah, well, other quarterbacks are taller. What the fuck? Yeah, I don't mind Minshew at all as the starting quarterback for any team. I would take him as my Dolphins starting quarterback over Tua Tagovailoa, who needs fucking everything to be right for him. You know, he's like that. He's like the needy person in any relationship. Like, and just to get him to function at a normal level, just to get him to function at that very, very normal level, you need that fucking Ritalin up. You need antidepressant levels up on the guy. It's tough. It's tough for the Raiders.
Right at that particular point in the draft, I want to say roughly about 15 in, it gets kind of hairy as far as the picks as they go down.
Yeah, we got the Saints coming up with
because everybody started going defense then because like most of the better offensive players were taken
after the Saints picked up Fuaga. Fuaga. Collin, am I saying that right?
Fuaga.
Fuaga.
You got to put the N in there. Fuaga.
Talise Fuaga.
Fuaga. Offensive tackle, not much to say about him.
He is not duck fat. He is not foie gras.
He's very spectacular when it comes to being an offensive tackle. Very well versed. He's going to keep Derek Carr protected on the left end, the right end. He can play it all. I'm not going to spend too much time on an offensive tackle.
Solid pickup.
It's good stuff right there. What I have to spend some time on is this holy shit of a stupid pick. This neck-breaking pick right here. Holy shit.
Number 15.
Of all players you could have picked in this position.
Thank you, the Colts.
Thank you. Latu, whatever. UCLA.
Latu.
Dude, fucking UCLA is not known to be the best defense in the NCAA, let alone have the highest sack rate in the NCAA. Latu has to go through offensive linemen who aren't even that great, to be honest with you. So he's got the easiest, and he's fucking old. And he's old.
Somebody must have bet on him
and a bad neck
in order to get the 15-1 pick that he was supposed to go number 14. He was blowing somebody in a back room somewhere.
God,
in order to get picked that high.
I don't understand. You can pick Dallas Turner, Jared Verse. Instead, you go Latu. You could pick Chop Robinson. Take a little, I don't care if he's got short arms. His neck is still attached to him. You get one bad hit on this guy. Done. I have Latu.
Okay, Kevin, why are you trying to give up your player? Didn't Chop go to Miami?
He did go to Miami. I'm loving it.
Yeah, so why are you trying to give up your player? Yeah, you got to no, don't take Chop Robinson.
What I'm saying, Sparky, is I thought the Rams were going to be the dumb team to take him. Instead, we have, you know what? This makes sense. Jim Irsay probably thinks that Latu still gets Percocets and is probably just trying to get the pills this way. I knew it. Never mind. Yeah. I just answered my own question. Collin! What do you think about Latu going to the Colts at pick 15? The first edge taken off, the first defensive player taken off the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think Latu's a good player. I think he's definitely a first-round value. I don't like him as the first edge. He's definitely in my top 5, but he's closer to 4 or 5 for me. As the first defensive player off the board, definitely not worth that value either. So, again, I think he fits that defensive scheme that they're running over there in Indianapolis. But as far as the value, I don't like the value at all.
I have him on the same level as a Xavier Thomas type, where been hurt before, comes back, not as explosive, and everybody's pushing nostalgia sort of thing. I couldn't stand the pick. I've gotten into arguments galore with Colts fans. They're like, we got somebody good. It's like, you didn't, though. You really didn't. You could have had somebody good. You could have added a Brian Thomas Jr. You could have added a Koyon Mitchell to the idea. Or if you want to really go edge, Dallas Turner, you go Jared Verse, go fucking Adiza Isaac if you want a broken fucking edge right there. There are other routes to go. Or here's a fucking fun idea. Trade back your pick because no one's picking them. No one's going to pick him no one's going to pick. And if they do, let them have him. Who cares? You have Braswell as well. If you want like a value pick edge-wise, they are out there. All you have to do is scout. And it tells me that they haven't been scouting at all.
But Kevin, though, just wait. The trend is coming though, where these players were taken earlier on, and it threw a wrench in everybody's works. And
Yeah, it did.
there's one team that's sitting back there a little bit farther back, and they were planning on moving up, but they stayed where they were, and then they got what they wanted plus more later on.
I know.
That's okay.
who
We'll
you're-
talk about the number 16 and 17 pick right now.
Yep.
16 Seattle, 17 Minnesota. Seattle picked Byron Murphy the second.
Beautiful pick. Beautiful pick.
Great pick.
This is amazing. Best defensive
Yep.
tackle next to Newton. Interchangeable. You're going to pick one, pick the other. It's fine. Great pick. One of my favorites from college football. Colin, what do you think about the pick?
Yeah, Byron Murphy, I think he's a good pick for them there. He was my top-rated defensive tackle. I don't have a problem with it. They needed defensive line help.
A+++++ all around. You need a defensive tackle. This is the guy to go to. Tony, what do you give the grade?
Should have went higher, but is a great pickup.
Should have been a Cowboy, and the Vikings
Should have been a Cowboy.
ultimately redeemed themselves by trading up again.
Picking up edge, Dallas Turner.
Well, they had to redeem themselves for something. You know, the J.J. McCarthy thing, like, almost ripped the hearts out of their chest, you know?
Well, they
Fans
traded
were
up
going to hijack everybody.
Dallas Turner to the Vikings. I know Logan Lesh loves this idea. Now you got Turner, you got J.J. McCarthy, you got your future quarterback, and an edge rusher that's going to look like, that's going to make the old-time purple people eaters feel like they're back at home. Brian Flores, as far as your defensive coordinator goes. Van Ginkel, I think he knows that Van Ginkel is going to provide more of a ensemble idea to the whole situation. But yeah, grade for that draft there. What do you got? A++++++?
A+. Why not?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm doing that too. Yeah, man.
Yeah. He should have went instead of Latu.
Oh my God, dude, you could have. I thought he was going top 10. You know, like this
know.
kid. Holy shit.
He dropped that far down.
Oh God, how do you drop that far?
19.
Well, we're going to talk about the number 18 pick for a minute.
Gotcha.
You talked about 18, didn't you?
No,
Talked
that
about
was 17.
Turner.
Amarius
Oh, that's 18.
Mims.
Okay.
Yeah. So Latu was 15, Byron Murphy 16, Dallas Turner 17. The number 18 pick went to the Bengals. Now they picked up offensive tackle Amarius Mims. By the way, Mims is already talking. He wants to trade.
You want to trade?
Another one.
Interesting. I think
Yeah.
Mims fits what they're doing there. If you look at their two offensive tackles that they have, monsters. Biggest offensive tackles in the league right now. Amarius Mims is the biggest offensive tackle in the draft.
Yeah. There's no way for him, not to say there's no way for him to get a starting spot when you have that.
He kicked over the guard.
I think
they would have to move him. Yeah.
The Bengals overall had a very besides their first round pick of Mims, which the kid's he's got some trouble going on. The rest of their draft went great. Chris Jenkins in pick 17, round 2. Jermaine Burton, wide receiver, Alabama. This kid can go for the long ball, no problem. Very underrated wide receiver. I'll also look up. They got 2 tight ends. They got all out of Iowa. Okay, more of a blocking tight end, and then they got Tanner McClain, more of a passing tight end. So they got the best of both worlds. Josh Newton, not a good cornerback. So what? I don't know what the fuck they saw in him, but that's perfectly fine. He's definitely a better cornerback than myself. And then they played mess around time with 2 back-to-back Old Miss.
Once again, somebody has to be a place kicker.
They got to be there. Absolutely. But yeah, he wants a trade already. I'm guessing he saw a brochure for Cincinnati's methadone clinics and said, this can't be the place for me.
True.
So getting on to pick 19, one of my favorite picks. Pick 19. These guys, the whole team, nailed the draft. One of the top 3 teams I have, LA Rams.
Go Rams.
Jared Verse. Colin, your take on it.
And he's frozen.
Is he frozen?
I think he's frozen.
I thought he was taking a stroke.
I know. He's got the poop face going on.
Yeah, maybe he is pooping.
He might be. So, number 19, Jared Verse. Edge rusher. Pretty decent pickup.
Well, they needed it. They got rid of the ghost of Christmas past, or as I like to call him, Aaron Donald when he retired. People are going to be sleeping better at night now, knowing that they're not facing him right away.
Yeah.
Jared Verse, man, he is. See, Dallas Turner had Braswell on the other end. Jared Verse had no one on the other end. Florida State was a force to be reckoned with because of Jared Verse.
Killed people. Killed them.
As ties to northeastern Pennsylvania here.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Jared Verse. Seattle Reign has, if for our viewing audience right now, I'm getting messages from Collin as we speak. He does not just look like that for no reason at all. His screen froze up on him. He's got a Seattle rainstorm going on.
No.
He will be back in about 3 to 4 minutes, not even. He's coming right back in. He's connecting his hotspot. So be very patient. The Jared Verse kind of speaks for itself right there. We'll move on to the Steelers pick of Troy Fautanu. It's weird as all of these offensive tackles, if not half of them, look like they could have been in Hawaii. As
I think this is more of a value pick for them trying to rebuild offensive and defensive line people.
Line first, because once again, you got a quarterback, that you're going to try to save his life, and then you got, and then after that, you got Justin Fields behind him.
I'm actually looking up to see who the hell they even have. Because I totally forgot. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, Kyle Allen.
Yep.
I don't even know how Kyle Allen's still in the league right now, to be honest.
Yeah, at all. Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, that's a crazy explanation right there. The Steelers needed an offensive lineman. They got an offensive lineman last year. Collin is back with us, everybody. Collin is back with us. So
sorry about that.
You're totally cool, man. We got the we went over Jared Verse. Quick recap on him. I think he's amazing. Do you love Jared Verse?
Oh yeah, Jared Verse is phenomenal. He's going to be a great defensive end and edge rusher in the league.
Yeah, he's in a good place. Really good place.
Yes.
And then we're now on to the Steelers offensive line, rebuilding their offensive line. The Troy Fautanu. Any thoughts on Troy?
He's going to kick inside. I know a lot of people think he's going to be a tackle. I think he'll end up kicking inside to guard. Honestly, Steelers just needed an offensive lineman. I think this was the best guy on the board.
I think the Steelers had a wonderful draft all around. They picked up Zach Frazier, center out of West Virginia. They picked up Roman Wilson just because. Great route runner. Not the fastest guy, but a really good football player all around. Peyton Wilson, one of my fucking favorite linebackers. Talk about being in pursuit of people. The Steelers, for Mason McCormick, who cares? Logan Lee, not worried about it. Ryan Watts, not sure about that either. But if you can get 3 or 4 good guys in this draft and they actually do what they're supposed to do, which is make an impact positively on your football team, then you're in good shape all around. We will move on to the next pick overall because my Dolphins are on the clock. And with the 21st pick of the NFL, of the 2024 NFL draft, the Dolphins select Chop Robinson out of Penn State. I'm a Penn State fan too. So we got Chop Robinson rolling on through, injury-free, forced to be reckoned with.
Right now.
Energy, and he's not afraid to tackle anybody. Unlike all the Dolphins last year were afraid to tackle people.
Yeah.
What a God. Our defense hopefully is a lot better.
Offensively, Miami looks great.
We built the front of the house and put a chandelier in front too. The back of the house is empty.
There's a chandelier on the trailer.
We have a fucking house made of diamonds and no toilet to shit. Because somebody's got to do the dirty work eventually. You want to look good.
Yeah, they have the West Virginia outhouse in the back.
I love the pick. I love the pick. People are going to give this pick a B+ because they're going to call it a reach. I mean, I'll call it an A- because I'm a fan a little bit. I still think that the Dolphins could have gone Koyon Mitchell because we don't have Xavier Howard right now. Koyon Mitchell is probably one of the top touted cornerbacks. We have no cornerbacks noteworthy right about now, besides Cam Smith, who we got last year from South Carolina. And even then, he fell behind in the Vic Fangio defense because they're like, Vic Fangio knows defense. The fuck he does. What was he doing last year? How has he got such a great reputation defensively when all of his defenses seem to just fall apart? I'll never know.
How would you have felt with Xavier Worthy opposite the side of Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, I think we already have an Xavier Worthy type in Jalen Waddle. I think they're identical players. They're both their height, their weight, their speed are very identical. So to add a third one of that mix, if they bounce into each other, dude, they're gonna die. They will. Yeah. They'll have a concussion just from bouncing into each other.
Do you think it's too much? I honestly would have thought it would have been a great pair, but
I think we still have Wilson from the Cowboys as the third stringer. We can send Mostert out there. I mean, when you have Tyreek Hill, you already have one double team down the road. When you have Jalen Waddle on the slant, you already have linebackers being beat. So you got a free and wide open tight end that just uses as a diversion to take another cornerback off. And this is where our motion offense of Raheem Mostert getting like a crazy amount of yards comes in.
Well,
because
Kevin, that's how they win games. They do offensive pummeling.
Yeah, they just
they just can't win with a crappy defense.
The biggest problem with Miami right now is their only punishment of losing in a negative 20-degree game is going back to Miami and snorting up some of that cocaine and seeing strippers and stuff. Like, that's not a punishment. That is not a punishment. There's not enough reward for the whole thing. I think Collin disconnected again. He's trying to get back in. No big deal. He will.
The nose candy, the Canadian Kush, the the Peruvian powder.
Peruvian powder. And Sparky, I know you want to get on this next pick right here with the 22nd pick of the NFL 2024 draft.
Philadelphia Eagles. They take cornerback Kenyon Mitchell.
Koyon Mitchell.
Koyon?
Yep.
Koyon Mitchell.
Right now, he says, leave me.
Kenyon Mitchell.
Unable to join this meeting because you were previously removed by the host.
I didn't remove him. He froze up again on my screen.
Yeah, he did freeze up there. Try again. I'll put down try again.
Holy hand.
Trying to get back in. I know. They got some Seattle rain out there right now. Koyon Mitchell, Sparky, do your thing.
Here, I'm gonna send him
this was a magical pick for Philly. He wasn't even supposed to be there at 22.
He wasn't even supposed to be there.
Philly's original plan before the draft is they were going to try to trade up to 17. But then what happened is when Michael Penix kicked in and all the panicking started, that's when Howie Roseman decided, you know what, we're gonna sit back in and just play it close and let's see what happens. And needless to say, as the picks were going along, it was like, came to Philly. Who do we take? Do we take Kenyon Mitchell or do we take Cooper DeJean? And it's like, well, we're going to take Mitchell first, but then, well, as strange things happen, Philly got DeJean in the second round.
I thought they were I thought they were going to go.
He fell really far.
I thought they were going Cooper DeJean as well, Sparky in the first round, but you don't pass up on Koyon, and they ended up getting him anyways. 100% agree with you on that. 1,000%.
They got both of them.
They got both of them. They got Cooper. I thought they were going Cooper in the first round, but you don't ignore Koyon Mitchell in the first round.
But then you guys are talking about mess around time. Did you hear what Philly did for all their how many trades Philly actually pulled off in this draft?
Did they light the buildings on fire?
They lit the buildings on fire.
They did a lot of trading. They did 1, 2, 3, 4. They did 5 trades in a row up until the 5th round. The only time they didn't trade was in the 5th round, 37th pick.
Yeah, they had to have a pee break.
Yeah,
they had.
Here you go, Kevin. This is what happened, though. This is what happened. Philly had picks 50 and 53. They traded them to go up to 40 to get Cooper DeJean. And then after that, they had the 78th pick, traded that down to 86. Then they took the 86 pick, traded down to 94, and that's when they took Hunt.
Imagine if he went to the
outside
Patriots
linebacker.
and then they'd have Dijon Mayo.
Dijon Mayo, yeah. But then they
That would have been
but
perfect.
then they traded their
Robert Kraft was just
but then they
hungry.
traded their one they traded
That would have been perfect.
but then they traded
Kraft
but then they
presents
traded
Mayo.
pick 120 down to 123. Then they took 123, traded that down to 127, and that's where they got Will Shipley out of Clemson. Once again, Shipley, they're like, well, what has Shipley done? But if you look at his college career, Shipley put up numbers during his college career. But then after that,
What,
they had the
parking cars or what?
132nd pick, but then they traded that down to 152, and that's where they got the wide receiver out of out of Texas A&M, Anaya Smith. And then
He's out of Texas.
that's when Philly traded up picks 161 and 164 to go up to 155 to get Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Not a bad pick
But
either.
then after that they traded pick 171 down to they traded 171 down, and then they got at 172 they took Keegan, the guard out of Michigan. And then their actual last two picks, they're 2 sixth rounders. You know, they took Johnny Wilson, that wide receiver out of Florida. Where
Such a bad idea.
They're probably going to convert. They're probably going to convert him to tight end.
Yeah, because he's slow and tall
Yeah.
And
bad at blocking.
yeah, he's
perfect for them.
6'6". He's 6'6". He could play tight end. And then they got McMahon, that guard center out of NC State. Yeah, but yeah, Philly pulled off
Good for them.
eight trades total.
Yeah.
And they bounced.
them.
I think Philly had one of the better drafts of the weekend.
Let's wrap up this
For the
show. Not
talent
to
that
say
they
wrap
got.
up the show. Let's wrap up this draft real quick.
Wrapping up the draft.
We'll go over the 23, 24. We'll go over 23 and 24 together. Because
So you got Brian Thomas. So you got Brian Thomas Jr. right there at 23. Great pickup for the Jaguars, but the rest of the draft of the Jaguars just messed up big time. Terrion Arnold goes to the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions take Terrion Arnold. They needed a cornerback. In fact, they needed a cornerback so much that they picked another one in the next round. No problem. Like it was something to do. Surprise,
They did.
surprise. ACL tear, Jordan Morgan, 4 to 5 years senior, goes in the first round to the Packers, who needed an offensive tackle, offensive guard so much that they also picked some more tackles down the way. Then we start making some sense. I'll play
Very
anywhere
much.
on the offensive line. Graham Barton goes to the Buccaneers right there.
great pickup for the Buccaneers.
Monster of an edge, Darius Robinson.
Should have went much higher.
Could have
Yep.
gone much higher. Some people thought that this was a little high for him, but if you check the tape on him, dude is a monster.
He's big. Yeah.
Then the Chiefs give Pat Mahomes a brand new weapon, Xavier Worthy. Holy shit, Xavier Worthy. Then you have
They gave him another Tyreek Hill.
They did. Then you got Tyler Guyton going to the Cowboys. We're gonna get there. I think they're giving Dak just as little that he's gonna have to fail, so that way they can give him the whole Jared Goff hee-haw-hoo somewhere else. Nate
No, I
Wiggins.
heard that Dallas made a move.
Dallas got back. They are reunited, and it feels so good with Ezekiel Elliott.
Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, they gave him a fresh $1 million from the briefcase. They said, "Here
Does
you
he
go."
have
they
anything
did.
left in the tank, though? That's going to be the question.
I think this is basically them saying, "Hey, Dak, prove you're worth it." I think they want Dak's stats to go way low, so that way, then when they're like, "Hey, why are we going to pay you? Look at what you do." Not a lot. Ricky Parshell, probably one of the worst picks I could think of for the first round. But wait, says the Panthers, hold my fucking beer. I'm going to trade up. I'm going to trade up for a man that could never get separation on the cornerbacks throughout his whole entire career of South Carolina, which his last year was actually pretty good. The only reason it was pretty good was because Spencer Rattler threw 90% of his fucking passes to him. 90%.
Good old Xavier Legette.
Legette sounds like the fucking cigarette brand, right?
I'm sorry, you don't smoke Pall Malls, do you? No, I smoke Legettes.
I'll take a pack of Legettes. Legettes. Nothing says I'm too broke to kill myself than
Oh, oui, I would like the Legette.
Legette. Pack of Legette Kings for my queen.
It sounds like a French pastry.
It sounds like the pack of smokes that's found on the floor by a cleaning lady after she knows that only prostitutes live there. Legettes.
Perfect.
Your last name sucks, Xavier Legette.
And of course, that wrapped up all 32 picks of this year's NFL draft. Round 1 in the bank. Fucking holy shit. Panthers, what are you doing?
Colin had a little technical difficulties. We'll have him on probably in the future sometime. He did great. Make sure to check out Underdog. Or check out College Football Dogs. College Football Dogs on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the things. We've run into overtime. My idea was, hey guys, let's start up early. Tony's like, fuck you. I will sit here. Yeah, and watch taco fucking commercials all day.
Don't hate on the tacos.
Yeah.
Guys, we are the Podguyz Podcast. You can find us on all your streaming devices. Sparky, where are they?
You can find us on iHeart, YouTube, Spreaker, Deezer, Castbox, Pocket Cast, Geo Rio, Facebook Live video, YouTube video,
Spotify,
the Dance Network. I don't know. Kevin's there.
All the streaming.
Google us,
networks.
YouTube
You can also
us.
find us on merchbooth.com. Just go to the merch. Let's go to merchbooth.com. Hit the podcast section. Scroll on down to the Podguyz podcast. Click that button, and you will see the finest of t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops. Tony's wearing one of ours right now. The white beater tank top right there. If you can't see him, it is looking very sexy right now.
Thank you.
His wife will look at him directly in the t-shirt tonight because he's got the Podguyz podcast t-shirt going on right there. Not
the wife beater for a reason.
Yeah, that's right. The good old days.
I wish I had one of those. That'd be great.
And you knew where you were then.
Guys, we are the Podguyz Podcast. Tune in every Monday, 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. I'm Tony Cass.
Kevin Neri here.
Of course, the ever-loving Picasso.
Sparky.
Let's Sparky. Guys, make sure you tune in every Monday. We got some great guests coming up for the next couple weeks. Kevin, who do we got on next week?
We have on next week, I'm not sure. To be honest with you.
Comedian somebody?
I think we got comedian somebody.
Somebody.
No.
Goes my text, but we will promote it on Facebook regardless, one way or the other.
If they ever answer your text.
I answer my text all the time. I'm like, hey, how are you?
No, I said if anyone else answers your text.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they should by now.
If not, I got somebody else in mind. Have a great night, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.